Hello, a very lovely good evening and a very vibrant one too, and a great welcome. So here we are. So we, in the last session, were having a discussion with respect to what we call issue of share capital, and of course today the storyline will be same and we'll continue the same topic, and we have had a discussion which was unfolded till question number 1, and today we are going to unfold another discussion, and today we are going to pick up some questions to actually elaborate it with in-depth analysis. So hope each one of you are absolutely ready with your pen, pencil, register, whatsoever, and right away we are coming into the business end, and we have already formatted the entries so as to actually consume less time. So if you're ready, we on our part are absolutely ready. So here we go and begin with question number 2 of the day. This is first session for the day 2. Tornado Limited issued 10,000 shares of 10 each at 20% premium. Of course, this is the first question and not going to be the last one, wherein we are finding actually that company is going for issuance of share at a premium, and then we have got amount payable as follows. Now, you have to be a little bit more careful actually henceforth, that whenever we would find that shares are being offered at a premium, you know the treatment, but still we are going to have a little bit of analysis over it. So whenever shares are being offered to the public at a premium, we have to be careful with respect to the cause. For example, just pay attention here. So this is question number 2 we are picking up. Question number 2, first of all, let me write the question number here, question number 2. And these analysis which we are doing, these are not part of the solution, just for the simplification, correct? So first of all, you have to take into account the face value. Now the face value in this case happens to be 10. So somewhere you write 10. This is your face value, correct? Rupees 10. And as premium amount is 2, so your issue price is 12. So without an iota of doubt, issue price is going to be 12. So after having written your face value, security premium, and insurance premium account, what you need to know in advance is that the call rates which are available in front of us actually, these call rates are always vis-a-vis issue price. You got this? When I told you that these call rates are always vis-a-vis means against. These call rates are always against the issue price. What I want to say, just pay attention over here, you'll find that application money is rupees 2, allotment money is 7. So I'm writing it under the column of issue price. Is it clear? Similarly, in this case, there is only first and final call. So first and final call is rupees 3. Now, if I will add all these, I will get 12. Now, I would say it this way round. Application share is 2 as far as face value 10 is concerned, but allotment share is 5 as far as natural face value of the share is concerned. And rupees 2 is application and 3 is call. So you need to know, it will help you later on, that whenever in the question these call rates are given, these rates are always against the issue price. Is it clear to you? Now, we move further. Now we will do the analysis because there is oversubscription. Now, total applications received 15,000, correct? So first of all, we are going to write here number of shares issued. Now you are familiar with this one. So 10,000 number of shares issued, and you find that total applications have been received to the extent of 13,000, correct? Now, what decisions actually your company have taken in this particular case? Total applications received 15,000 and director decided to allot share to 13,000 applicants while rest were rejected. So, your company decided that out of 15,000 applications, 13,000 applicants shall be allotted 10,000 share. This is exactly what we mean by this particular sentence, that directors decide to allot shares. Allot shares means whatever shares you have issued for the public offerings. So all these 10,000 shares have been allotted among 13,000 applicants. If you remember, whenever lesser number of shares are allotted among higher number of applicants, we will call it what we call excess or pro rata case, isn't it or not? Do you remember? So I will call it excess case because sometime when I will write pro rata, it will consume little bit larger space. So just to avoid the space savings, just to avoid the space actually, I am using the word excess, and I have already told you that if I would use the word excess, you connote it with pro rata. So we will take the difference now. The difference of 10 and 13 of course is 3, and then you are going to multiply it with application rate. In this table, that is shares issued, in this particular table, everything will be multiplied with application rate. Now you must know that application rate in this particular case happens to be 2, so amount is 6,000. This 6,000, if you remember, this 6,000, should I write it over here? Because it is consuming little bit of space. So 3,000 into application money 2, 6,000 will be taken towards allotment. You will take it towards allotment. If you remember, the excess money is always taken towards allotment, isn't it or not? Yes, sir. So that is the first decision. So after having taken your first decision, now the situation is that balance. You have nothing more to offer because all 10,000 shares have been allotted among 13,000 applicants. However, 2,000 applicants are still in the waiting. So 2,000 are in the waiting. Now you don't have any other alternative. You will be forced to reject them, and that is exactly what the directors of the company did actually. They simply did not allot these shareholders any shares. Their shares were rejected. So what you are going to write now, first of all you write R, it means actually rejected. Now you take the difference is 2,000, and of course you are going to multiply it with application money. That happens to be 2. So 4,000 will have to be refunded. Is it clear to you? This is how you are going to prepare this particular chart, and you must acquire proficiency in it. Is it clear to you? First you write shares issued 10,000, applications received 15,000. You note down the decisions of the directors. Now the first decision is all the shares, that is 10,000 shares, will be allotted among 13,000 applicants. Then you take the difference 3,000. Because this is excess money, pro rata case, so this particular money, 6,000 rupees, will be adjusted against the next call, that happens to be allotment. And then we will balance it. We find that we do not have any further shares to allot, but 2,000 share applicants are still there. So we will have to reject them. Rejection means these shareholders weren't allotted a single share. So their shares will be rejected, and rupees 4,000 will have to be refunded. So I will write here refund. So this is how we need to prepare this particular chart. So once we will acquire proficiency in it, rest of the things will become a little bit more easy. Now in this particular case, what else is given? The call was also made. Mr. Nice, who held 1,000 shares, failed to pay anything apart from application and what we call allotment money, and consequently his shares were forfeited and later on reissued to Mr. Wise at the rate of 9 per share as fully paid. Just go through this particular line once again. Mr. Nice, who held 1,000 shares, failed to pay anything apart from application and allotment. It means this particular fellow, Mr. Nice, actually paid the application money. He has paid the allotment money, but he didn't bother to pay you your call rate. So you got angry with him. You gave him some notice. In practical life, we do give some notice to the shareholder if they default. And in spite of those notices, if they do not heed to our what we call guidance, of course their shares will then be forfeited. So that's what we did. The shares were forfeited, cancelled out, So that is how you have to incorporate the entry. I'm sure you can manage this question of your own, but in spite of that, we'll do it for you. So once you have done the thorough analysis, we need not require to look at the question time and again. That's exactly what your analysis will stead you in a good state. So now, first entry, bank to share application, number of shares, number of applications which you received happen to be, in this case, 15,000. Obviously, you are going to multiply it with the application money. 30,000 is the amount which you would receive. Your first entry will be bank to share application 3030. Correct? Now the next one. 30,000 application money will have to be adjusted. It is very important and pertinent and significant to note that by the end of the second entry, your entire application money must get exhausted, must get fully adjusted. How? Just pay attention here. Share application is 30,000, correct? But we know that now we have to transfer application money to the capital. But share of application money in the share capital is on number of issued share 10,000 at the rate of 2. So 20,000 shall have to be transferred towards capital. Now you will look into the table which you have just prepared down over here. So you can find it out from this particular table that 4,000 rupees have been refunded on 2,000 shares because 2,000 shares have been rejected. So to bank you will write in bracket 2,000 if you wish to into 2. So 4,000 rupees will have to be refunded. Is it clear to you? And then you will write to allotment money. 10,000 shares were allotted among 13,000 shares. There will be some excess money. This excess money, as we know, actually we adjusted against the future calls. So it will be adjusted against the allotment as we did in the last session also. So 3,000 into 2, you will write 6,000. So that is how you can see actually that by the end of second entry, your entire application money should get fully adjusted, fully what we call comprehensively closed out. Now, we will move over to entry number 3. In this particular case, we find that the number of shares issued are 10,000. So obviously you are going to write 10,000. Number 1. Number 2 is, please pay attention. It is some basic points you need to understand in advance. Whenever you will write the call rate, the name of the call is allotment. You have to look into the issue price column. Sometimes it creates confusion in the what we call examination. Should we take 7 or 5? So at the time, these points will be very handy for you. So whenever we will write the call rate, we will take into account the call rate which is given under issue price. Is it clear to you? So share allotment. So that is why I will look over here. I will find that call rate is 7. So I'm going to multiply it with 7. 70,000 is the amount which I am going to write. Now, whenever I will write capital, please pay attention. I will always take the natural face value. Are you getting my point? What point actually I am interested in hammering into you? The point is that I just want you to not to have any sort of confusion whether to take 7 or 5. So whensoever we would write against the capital, we shall always take face value rate. Correct? So share of allotment, share capital is on 10,000 shares at the rate of 5. That is this 50,000. And allotment in security premium is this much. So 20,000 we shall take towards security premium account. Clear to you? Now the next entry will be for receipt of allotment money. So we will receive the allotment money now. We shall write here. Receipt of allotment money. I will write here narration. Receipt of allotment money. First of all, just have a look down over here. You will find 70,000 has been written in front of allotment, which means actually that you are supposed to receive 70,000 on allotment. However, out of 70,000, you have already received something in advance. How much? That is 6,000 rupees. So now you will receive only 64,000. Is it clear to you? So 64,000 rupees you will receive now on allotment. So bank account debit to share allotment account. This is the entry you are going to put up over here. Now in this case, you would write share call account because there is first and second call. Now the fifth one, share call account debit, number of share issued 10,000, call rate is 3. So 30,000 is the amount due. Now you will receive the call money. It is important to understand what we call regarding receipt of call. Just pay attention over here. When we will receive the call money, as you can see, you were supposed to receive 30,000 rupees, isn't it or not? Yes, sir. So 30,000 you were supposed to receive, but one Mr. Nice did not pay call money on 1,000 shares. So you shall subtract rupees 3,000. So your entry will be 27,000. Bank account debit to share first call account. Now just pay attention. This particular entry can be written this way around also if you want to. Bank account debit 27, calls in area account debit 3,000, to share first call account 30,000. Correct? Bank account debit to share first call is 27, calls in area to first call 33. So you can write either this entry or you can directly put up entry bank to share first call. That is your prerogative. That is your discretion. That is your choice. Is it clear to you? However, we are accustomed to actually write the entry in this way. So, however, it is your prerogative. I have already told you, if you intend to put up what we call forfeit area here also, so you can do so. Now, it is given to us that shares of Mr. Nice have been forfeited. In practical life, of course, whenever a particular shareholder would default, company would allot it some time. Company will provide him some notice and ask the shareholder to pay within the stipulated time. But if the defaulter continues with the default, then company will be left off with no other alternative but to forfeit his share. So now we will pass the entry for forfeiture, correct? Now you will pass the entry for forfeiture. As you know, whenever we forfeit the share, this is entry number 7, which I am putting up here. Whenever shares are forfeited, the share capital of the company gets reduced, as you know. So we shall write here number of defaulting shareholders, that is 1,000. Whenever we write the forfeiture entry, we have to take into account number of defaulting share, which is 1,000. Then we shall multiply it with the called up value of the share. What I want to say here, just pay attention. I have called rupees 2. I will look into the face value because I am writing in front of share capital. That's the point I want to hammer into you. Sometimes it creates confusion. Should we take what we call issue price rate or face value rate? So simple solution to it is that whensoever we would write what we call face value, share capital, whensoever we will write share capital, we shall always take into account, as I told you, face value. So, face value rupees 2 on application has been called up. Rupees 5 on allotment has been called up. And of course, you have also called up rupees 3. So, it means when the shares were forfeited, entire rupees 10 have been called up. So, rule is that in front of share capital, we will write defaulting share into called up amount and you will write here 10,000. Is it clear to you?
Share capital account debit 10,000.
Correct?
Sometime in the forfeiture entry, we may have to debit security premium also. However, I am going to explain this point later on. Sometime in the forfeiture entry, we may have to debit security premium. Suppose if in this particular case, Mr. Nice had not paid allotment money, then I would have had debited security premium also. Is it clear to you or not? What I am saying, sometime in the forfeiture entry, we may have to actually debit security premium. To be very honest with you, security premium will be debited when it wouldn't have been received. However, in this particular case, this fellow has paid the allotment money. It means he has paid the what we call security premium. So we need not require to debit it. But I will elaborate this point as I told you later on in the upcoming questions. Correct? So whenever we will pass the forfeiture entry, we will debit share capital with the number of defaulting share into called up amount. Correct? Then what we will do? We will try to find out which call he didn't pay. Out of these three calls, Mr. Nice did not pay call money. I am going to write here share call account. To share call account. Correct? Mr. Nice is having 1,000 shares. On 1,000 shares at the rate of 3, he did not pay call money. So I am going to write 2 call. Now against the share forfeited, generally what we write what we have received from this particular fellow. Now out of 10,000, we have received 7,000. You can take it as a balancing figure also. He has paid rupees 2 on application and 5 on allotment. Is it clear to you? Don't confuse yourself that, sir, he has paid 2 on application and 7 on allotment. You will not consider the security premium account. Reason is that we haven't taken security premium here. I have just told you, sometime in the forfeiture entry, we may have to debit security premium. However, security premium amount will be debited if this particular fellow would have had created a default against the allotment money, which means if security premium hasn't been received, then only in the forfeiture entry, security premium will be debited. Is it clear? So that is how your forfeiture entry will look alike. So your entry will be share capital account debit 10,000 to share forfeited. Share forfeited means the amount which we have received and which we are not going to refund him. That is the punishment for the default which he created. So this is a sort of gain to the company because company has already received 7,000 from this fellow and company is not going to refund the same. And to call account 3,000. We will have to write the name of the call in which the default has been created. So whenever we write the forfeiture entry, last time, we will take into account defaulting share, we'll multiply it with the called up value. Then we will take into account how much money has been received and how much money hasn't been received. Correct? Then, in practical life, a company can, this is entry number 8, I'm writing here. Correct? Just entry number 8. After forfeiting the shares, correct, a company has the prerogative that it can actually reissue the shares also. Now, in this case, company has issued, as you can see, all the shares as for rupees 9 per share. So, 1,000 forfeited shares have been issued for rupees 9. So company will receive 9,000 on these shares. Now, it means company is giving some concession at the time of reissue. It is important point to understand that as per Companies Act 2013, Section 53 deals with discount. Logically speaking, now an entity cannot make issue of shares at a discount. However,
At the time of reissue, we can give discount. Section 53 never prohibits this one. Are you getting my point or not? At the time of public issue, we cannot give discount. That's a different matter. However, after having forfeited the shares, when we are going to reissue the same, we are still very much in command to give the discount. So section 53 does not what we call prohibit a particular entity to give concession at the time of reissue of shares. So that is the reason in this case, and most of the time we would find that whenever in public life, in practical life, company reissues the shares, generally company offers some concession. So this concession is reflected by share forfeited account. 1000 into 1. This is the concession we gave at the time of reissue. So 1000 share forfeited and 1000 shares have been issued at the rate of 10 each. So 10,000 we shall write here. This is the entry for reissue. Entry number 8 we have written here. You did not have to look here. This I have written for the sake of my own convenience. You need not require to look here. Now entry number 9 has been written over here. Entry number 9. As you know better than I, in fact, let me first of all write here. This entry is for reissue. This entry is for reissue. Correct? So whenever a company would reissue, company will offer discount, as you know. So after having forfeited the shares and after reissuing the same, over the net process, company will gain something which we can easily find out. For example, in this particular case, what exactly is the net gain to the company? Just pay attention. In order to compute the net gain, all you need to do is to have a look over the share forfeited credit balance and debit balance. For example, number of shares are 1000. Correct? On 1000 shares, credit balance in share forfeited account is 7000. And on 1000 shares, debit balance is also rupees 1000. So net gain to the company is rupees 6000. As I told you, when company will forfeit the share, at that time company received a gain of 7000. But when company offered the shares again, actually at that time company incurred a loss due to concession which the company gave. So ultimately we can also find it logically that the net gain for the company is rupees 6000. And then finally what we are going to write here, we are going to write here share forfeited account 6000 to capital reserve. This gain is of capital nature. So there are two types of gain only, revenue nature and capital nature. Of course, revenue nature gain is one which an entity receives by way of sale of its own product. But this time the gain is not due to the sale of the product, rather due to some other proceedings. So that is why it is considered as a capital gain. And that is the reason it will be transferred to capital reserve. So that is how you are going to write down the entry. We will continue with this one. But at this moment, we are going to finish it off this session here. And we will pick up another question in a short while.